Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by Flolio. I'm your host, Jeremy Weber, joined as always by Dan Vondelok. Dan,
Hello,
how we
hello.
feeling today? How you doing after that COVID shot?
Uh, Good today. Good-ish. I had like my COVID like booster shot 3 days ago, and it
Yeah.
knocked me on my ass for 2 days. So
Oof. Yep, it'll do that. It'll do that.
yeah,
But now
nothing
you're
too bad.
basically like Superman at this point.
Well, yeah, I think I've 3 times had Pfizer right now, so I'm like a Pfizer like super god at this point.
Okay. Okay, right on. Well, as we get started, as always, nothing we say on this show is financial advice. We try to provide you with some education, some resources, maybe a little bit of entertainment to help navigate the crazy world of NFTs and Web3. So please do your own research on what we are pointing you in the direction of. So let's jump right into it today. Daniel, I know you were down and out for a couple days, but I'm sure you're still paying a little bit of attention.
Oh yeah.
Any buys and sells since we jumped on and talked last week?
Definitely, yeah. No matter how sick I am, no matter how tired I am, I do have to look at potential like flips or profit gains
Or
in
whitelist
NFT.
opportunities?
Exactly. Um, so I was in this like alpha channel. Like some people just like mentioning, hey, like oh, this project is minting. Like you should maybe take a look. So I had a look at it and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll mint like 12 of them. It was a cheap mint, and I was like, yeah, this might do well like short term. So I minted. So they said it's 4 max per transaction. So meaning if you want to mint 12, you have to send in 3 individual transactions. So I did that, and something went wrong with the contract and like dropped my last 2 transactions because it ran out of gas allegedly. So that's an issue with the contract not allocating enough gas or like not estimating the required amount of gas accurately, and then all the value of the transaction goes directly to the miners. So I lost like 0.20 on that. Um,
It
so
just
that
went
was
straight to the
that,
miners.
yeah. So that was a bitter pill to swallow. So I was really annoyed and like I was really tilted, and I had like a half an hour conversation with their like team lead, and I was like, look, this is not something that happens because of network congestion. Okay, this is like an issue on the contract, and he was like, no, I can guarantee you it's not. Like I watched some YouTube videos on it, and like trust me,
So he's
man.
an
Like
expert now in writing
yeah,
contracts.
yeah, and so I was like, all right, I am annoyed. So I was just like, eventually I was just like, whatever, dude. I I went as far as to copying the downloading all transactions of their contract, and then
Okay.
and then and then putting it on Excel, and then filtering out all of the transactions that had the similar error message, and they were like 37. So 37 transactions lost money. So I sent him all the 37 transactions, and I was like, look, you got to do something with this, because it's very normal for projects to refund those errors.
Mhm.
And they were like, nope, we're not gonna do that. So I was like, all right.
That's
So
that's not great.
yeah, so I did end up getting 4 like of the very first transaction, and I woke up to them being like 0.12. So I was like, all right, goodbye,
Yeah.
goodbye. So I sold them all, and I had like zero point zero 0.08 profit in the end of the day because I lost all my money on the 8.
Well, that's one of those situations where, like we've talked about before, a big part of buying into a project is the team behind it, and when the team
Yeah,
behind it can't admit that they made a mistake and try to make it right, getting out of that at break even is at that point
that's a
best case
win.
scenario. That is
Yeah,
best case
definitely.
scenario. Like maybe it'll go up a little bit more, but based off of that interaction, not a long term thing you want to be
No,
holding
yeah,
on to.
definitely.
So I had a couple pickups this week. One of them was the Mutant Race NFT. So they did a pre-sale for Bored Ape and Mutant Ape Yacht Club holders. So I grabbed a handful of those. It's like a car racing game NFT. So I'm intrigued by that. I think that has the potential to be really cool. Um, the public sale starts today, so we'll see how that goes if they're able to sell out. But the private sale, being a private sale, was pretty smooth. And then I also got for free a handful of the bubblegum puppies. So on a few
Oh,
episodes ago, we talked about projects we liked for under 0.25. One of mine was bubblegum kids. They ran up to almost 0.25, and then they did a free companion mint for any holders. You could mint one puppy for every bubblegum kid you had. They're going to have a public sale coming up, and then the reveal, I believe, is on the 18th. So they look pretty cute. I mean, we talked about it before, and we'll get into it more later in the show. Like the cuteness factor in NFTs
yeah.
right now is pretty crazy. So that's our buys and sells for the week. Quick reminder to everyone, please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, we would really appreciate it if you would do that. If you could hit that like button as well, that would mean a lot to us. And then if you find any of our information useful or entertaining, please share with your friends, family on Twitter,
Everyone.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever new social media the kids are doing these days that old boomers like me can't understand yet. So let's jump into our recap of the NFT space for the week. And that has to begin with some of the tokens that have dropped throughout the week. We'll start with the Looks token. We won't dive into that too deep right off the bat because that's part of our main segment for the week. But Looks token was a distributed token through LooksRare.org, which is a new NFT marketplace that launched on Monday. It is distributed based off of how much you had spent on OpenSea. And Daniel, I believe it was the dates that you had to spend was June 16th to December 16th, or was it July?
It sounds about right. Yeah, it's close at least.
So there's this window of about 6 months where they took everyone's transaction history and how much ETH you spent dictated how many tokens you were dropped. So the max that you could get was 10,000 Looks tokens. I think it started around $2 a piece. And at its peak, it got up to about
4 point something, or 5?
Or 4.8, actually. I looked at the chart earlier today. It got to 4.8 the other day. It's back down now in the low threes. Daniel, did you obviously claim some Looks token. How did that play out for you? What did you end up doing there?
Yeah, pretty well. I have to remember because that dropped. When did that drop?
Monday.
Almost a week ago, right?
It was on Monday.
Yeah. So yeah, wow, it's crazy. That's like a couple days ago, and I'm already like, damn, that feels ages ago.
Yeah.
That's how fast it goes.
You didn't even have a beard back when it dropped.
Yeah, true. I claimed, so I have two wallets, right? I have one hot wallet and one cold wallet, and so I claimed on both, and I ended up having like maybe dare I say like 1,300 Looks tokens or something. So it's a decent amount. Like it's high enough to be like really happy about it. So I held it and I was like, the more I think about it, the more I think that Coinbase their marketplace would just blow everything out of the water anyway. So I decided that I didn't want to keep it for too long. I think I end up selling it at maybe 2.7 or 3 point something, like maybe really low in the threes. How about yourself? Because I actually do not know what you did with it.
So I staked it for a couple days. We'll get into staking later on.
Yeah.
And then it got up to about $4.40 a token the other day. And at that point, I decided to go ahead, unstake, and convert it over to ETH.
Wow.
And so I was able to pick up a little bit of ETH with that.
How much?
3.5, which I then
so nice.
In turn found a few cryptos that I thought were underpriced, swapped my ETH for those, and did a little bit of staking there.
That's crazy.
And
good.
I mean, we can touch on it again, but once again, crypto market not doing great. Stock market doing great. It seems like the only thing holding up right now is NFTs. So this is the place to be. If you got money and you don't want to sit it in cash and watch it depreciate by 7% over the next year, hey, just throw into NFTs. And we'll hopefully point you in the directions of some of the good ones and not some of the ones like the Rebel Society that are going to get you wrecked. So we should also, Daniel, I'm going to let you spearhead the WTF token. And that symbol sure does sum up the drop that happened last night and the absolute shit show that has ensued. So why don't you break that down for everybody?
Where do you even begin with this token?
I don't even know. Maybe by pouring yourself a drink, that's
honestly maybe
disaster.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe take some like ibuprofen, get some painkillers.
Yeah,
it was a mess. They from the very beginning they required you to pay 0.01 ETH to like unlock the withdrawing or like unlock the claiming, and they said it's because they had this whole like structure going on with like referral links, and like if you refer someone, then the 0.01 you pay is split between the person that's referring you and I think holders or maybe community wallet or something along those lines. So it's like a split. So people were like, yeah, okay, like don't really care too much, but gas went really high, and you ended up paying like between 0.02 and like 0.04. So
I
it's
remember
already
seeing I remember seeing gas up to like 0.14. I saw the
wow.
Y get up to like 950 at one
Yeah, good
point.
luck claiming that stuff.
And then I calculated. Well, first off, let me just interrupt you. I tried to go onto some of the DeFi sites and see like how much it was going for, and it was still showing
Yeah.
that it was for $0, which
Wow.
you'll get into here in a second. But at
Hmm.
that point, I was like, I don't even know. Like, I'm not going to claim this at
Yeah.
0.15 ETH when it could end up being worth 0.0. Like, I'm not going to lose money on a free token drop. That seems
Yeah,
ridiculous.
exactly. Uh, so that started, and then they had to wait 24 hours until you could claim it. And at that point, when the 24 hours were gone and you could claim it, turns out that the development team did not put any liquidity into the exchanges, and that's a mess.
Yeah, they put enough liquidity in, I think, to get like all of it swept up by bots, and then nothing left for anyone else who would claim the token.
Yeah, because if you don't have any liquidity on the exchange, what you're gonna get is absolutely either you get $0 price, or you get like $50,000 per token price, right? Because it's so impossible to estimate for the chain. So what ended up happening is there were a bunch of like bot actions, and apparently on Uniswap, for example, you give Uniswap permission to like trade your ETH. So once you go through like a transaction, and you say like, all right, yeah, do this, yeah, do it. Like, I want to buy this for X amount of ETH. They can apparently take like way more than you put in or something, just because you gave them the allowance of like unlimited. So there's
Okay.
definitely some risks involving there. And I saw someone getting wrecked for like 800 ETH.
Oh God, what?
Yeah,
That can't be real.
yeah. They traded 800 ETH for I think two WTF tokens. I think.
How, I'm not. We don't need to get into that. I have no idea how that would even work or why someone
Yeah.
would do something like that.
Either way, people got absolutely wrecked. Death threats were thrown around everywhere. Some guy saying, "Someone give me the address for $10,000. What will happen is not of your concern." Like people are actually absolutely losing their minds. So it's definitely very crazy.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah. So right now it's sitting at $0.16, so $0.16 or 16 cents, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
I'm so used to saying point this and point that I just
Yeah,
completely forget
16
the word.
cents, which is not. This is not one
No.
of those tokens where you celebrate it when it gets to 1 cent. This is that's real bad. It's real
Yeah,
bad.
that's quite bad. Because if I were to claim my tokens, I would have. So I have around maybe 5 ETH in gas fees paid, or maybe four ETH, maybe 5 ETH, and that would net me around 1,500 tokens, which is like $200. So yeah, it's nice, but if you realize how much gas you have to pay to actually claim them and then transact and then pay the minimum requirement on Uniswap,
Yeah,
you're
it's like
definitely losing
half.
money.
Yeah, that's not. There's no point in even claiming it at this
Yeah.
at this time. So, well, not great. Not what everyone was hoping for. There have been so many great drops lately between
Yeah.
SOS and Looks that not all of them are going to just provide you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for free. So just try not to get wrecked on these shittier ones, if you will. So some
Yeah.
other big news this week that just came out was the fact that the Chinese government is going to allow NFT transactions to take place on a government-supported blockchain. So, not surprisingly, the communists are going to build their own infrastructure that would, allow individuals and businesses to create platforms and apps for managing NFTs and buying and selling, and that's all going to be, state sponsored and state run, and I'm sure plenty of surveillance on that one as well. So, it's interesting to see a country that has been so opposed to
Yeah.
crypto now, like definitely go full steam into NFTs, and I'm curious what led to that. Besides the fact that they've seen, I think, so much interest already. You know, they had the Christie's Hong Kong
Yeah.
auction over in Asia that had a lot of money thrown around there. So I think they could maybe have seen like, hey, our economy's struggling. We need to try to dip our fingers into every possible revenue stream that there is. And so they're going to go ahead, and because they can, you know, set up this infrastructure from the jump, easily control what's going on in NFTs compared to trying to control what's happening with crypto mining and things like that. Daniel, what are your initial thoughts on, you know, that one of the biggest economies in the world getting involved in NFTs?
Yeah, like you said, like it's just so much more money and so much more eyes, so many more eyes on the projects. And like what I mainly wonder is how will they? So they're pretty anti crypto, right? Like, do you know if
Yes.
do they have like a government like crypto?
Not yet. They are, you know, similar to like U.S. stablecoins are building out the yuan as a digital currency over there. From what I've read up on it, it's all going to be fiat-based transactions. So you're
Okay,
not going to have to go on to one of those, you know,
exchanges.
apps or sites that people buy, and there won't be any crypto transactions. It'll all be fiat currency based.
Okay, so the real question is when Chinese government DAO?
Never, because they're communists. They will
Yeah.
never let that happen. One thing that I found to be really funny last night on Twitter, because God knows I spend too much time there, was all of the speculation on like, this is the project that everyone in China is going to
Yeah.
want. You need to get into it right now. Like people losing their minds. Like, oh, the Chinese are going to eat this up. I'm like,
It's
you
a new
guys need
buzzword,
to
right?
calm. Yes, you need to calm down. I think people are already on edge and losing their shit over the WTF token. That you
Hmm.
know the information about China's NFT
It's really entertaining though.
allowance just like absolutely sent people into a frenzy over like, nope, this is what people over there are gonna love because it's so cute and it's panda bears. And it's like, you guys need to just pump the brakes a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely.
There was one project, speaking of that, that went absolutely nuts last week. Was it like the Fanta Bears or the?
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that?
that's the number one weekly volume project.
Yeah, it went crazy. The Fanta Bears.
Yeah, do you want
Actually,
the screen share?
me bits are because of the wash trading going on on LooksRare,
Yeah,
but we'll get
about
into
that.
that later. Yes, let me go ahead and pull up the Fanta Bears because they're quite fun. There's you know, floor price currently just under 4 ETH, and this is another one of those cute projects that absolutely ripped over the weekend. Got up to
Yeah,
an average sale about 7.8. So let me
jeez.
pull up the Fanta Bears. Did you? I take it you did not FOMO into a Fanta Bear last week.
I wish I did. I do like flipping stuff for 8 ETH, but unfortunately, no, I did not.
So this
They
was
came
the
out of
last.
nowhere to me.
Yeah. So let's look over the last 2 weeks. You know, 2 weeks ago they were average price of 0.43, and then we just see them absolutely rip. Last Saturday got to an average price of 7.39, and then up to almost 8 on Monday. So
So, do you know when
absolute.
they started? Could you go like all time, like instead of like last 14
Let's
days? I wonder.
see. Did they start this year?
Okay, that did. Okay.
So they launched on New Year's Eve. So they have been
Yeah.
around for all of 2 weeks. Immediately just went crazy, and now they're coming back down to earth. Let's take a look at some of these cute little guys. So here's what they look like. They're pretty fun. You know, they got hats, they got glasses. This one's got a fanny pack around his shoulder. He's pretty
I
hip, I
like it.
guess. This one's spinning a cheeseburger on his finger. This one's got, you know, some cash. They have like a cash gun. So these are they're pretty cute, pretty colorful. Definitely catch your eye. So that is you know, a big, allegedly a big project coming out of China that people are going to be going all in on.
Yeah, I
So
believe it's made by a really big like social media person. I think I saw
okay,
Ezek or something.
okay.
See if I can find something about it. Um, J Chow and okay, I can't find anything on it. It'll probably take too much time and be too uncoordinated. But what I heard at least was that it's backed or like created by like a really big social media person over there. So it's really cool to see the amount of volume coming in from the Chinese people, and I'm looking forward to all the social media posts saying this project's gonna have all the Chinese eyes on it.
Yeah, keep an eye out. And anytime you see someone making crazy claims like that, go ahead and check their wallet and see if they've already front run that project, because I'd be willing to bet just about everything that if someone's out there making these wild accusations, they've probably already packed their bags on that project and are just trying to get people to use as exit liquidity. So let's move on past that to another hype this week, which was women-focused NFTs. This all started on Wednesday when World of Women announced that Guy Osseri, who is also the manager for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, he's just a entertainment manager as well for Madonna and other entertainers. He will be coming on as the manager for the World of Women project. So for those who don't know, World of Women was started middle of last year. It was one of the first female-focused NFT projects. It does some great work with helping support women around the world, providing education and funds to help women in underadvantaged countries, which is an absolutely great cause. And that announcement spurred on an absolutely crazy run for World of Women. Once again, I'll pull up the graph showing exactly what can happen when we see, news like this break, because we saw the World of Women collection absolutely go nuclear. So that is yesterday. The day before, it got up to an average price of 8.875, whereas just a few days before, it was hanging out right around 4. So, it has been around for a while. Let me pull up the exact starting date for that one so I can tell you how long World of Women has been in the market.
Yeah, and they haven't pulled back yet, which is surprising to see in the current market where a lot of projects are like pumping up and absolutely ripping it, and then getting cut in half like a few days later. And they haven't had that happen yet, so it's really curious to see if there will be any pullback. Well, there's always going to be a pullback.
Yeah, nothing ever goes up straight. But it looks like World of Women launched last July. They had a bit of a run-up in August, had a slight pullback. They've had these like up and downs. They've stayed fairly steady around the 2 ETH range for months. And then, a few influencers got involved. Reese Witherspoon, she bought a World of Women NFT, made it her profile picture. Was it Renee Zellweger? Did I get that one wrong?
I think it's Witherspoon.
Okay. And then this news caused it to absolutely go nuclear. So that is just one of the female-led projects that has gone crazy over the last week. A few others that are lower price point, and if you're interested in getting involved in some of these female PFP projects, a few other options are Crypto Chicks. They're currently trading around 0.3 ETH. Women in Weapons, which is trading around 0.55 ETH. And then, Daniel, can you tell me about Women Rise and Rebel Society?
Yeah, so I do not know exactly too much. I don't know too much about these projects. What I do know is that Women Rise, Gary Vee bought 10 of those fairly early on, but never posted about it. And then when people finally heard the news, hey, Gary is actually buying into these projects a lot, people started massively buying all these lower price entry or still minting female projects and absolutely pumping the hell out of it, which is still open to some discussion, people flipping and people buying in female NFTs mainly for flipping or not really for the sentiment behind it, just purely to get some money out of it.
Yeah, that's going to lead us into our final female PFP we're going to discuss, which is the Fame Lady Squad. So for those who are fairly new to the space, Fame Lady Squad also launched middle of last year. And there was a lot of controversy around that one because it was, like World of Women, one of the first PFP projects that was all female. And a lot of people were under the impression, based on what was said in the Discord and on the site, that the team behind it was all female. Yeah. Well, that turned out not to be true. Turned out to be a group of Russian guys who were running this female-led PFP project. And rightfully so, people were pretty pissed off when they heard about this. the project started to tank, and it was actually a group of women in the community who stepped in and took over the project. And the original founders are no longer involved in it. But, I have to tip my hat to the women who stepped in, because they have worked their asses off to save that project, save that community, and to grow it back up, because it was that understandably a very bad situation. I mean, female empowerment is awesome. And however, when it comes at the price of these guys who are trying to take advantage of it, that's really messed up. I think that should be a pretty resounding sentiment amongst everyone that, guys probably don't have too much business running a women-focused PFP program.
Definitely. And just to touch on like projects being taken over, funnily enough, last week I mentioned a look ahead of this project called Frosties, and it ended up being an absolute rug, which is very funny considering the one project that I mentioned turns out to be like an absolute rug. So it's interesting because what's really interesting about this rug is it was very high effort. It was very design looked good, it's typical cute NFT, so it definitely fit like the narrative. Well designed website, like Discord looked really well, so they definitely did like their research, and they're definitely knowledgeable. And that's scary because that they're not gonna stay away, they're gonna make another project, make another cute project and rug again. So that's definitely something scary to look out for. But
which is one of the many reasons why we've said from the jump, from episode 1 of this show, when you're researching a project to buy, if the team is anonymous and they just hide behind their usernames, it is, maybe that's a stay away. Even if there's all the hype in the world, maybe that's a good project to not be a part of. Because of things exactly like that.
Yeah, but the thing about Frosties is the community stepped in and wrapped the Frosties into like a new contract. So they're like reviving the project under their own like community. So that's really cool to see.
All right. So let's move on then to the Azuki project. Dan, I know this is one that you were focusing on, so go ahead and tell everyone about that.
Definitely, yeah. I have something really funny to ask you at the end of this, at the end of my monologue, and I wonder what your answer is going to be. But for now, they've been like a pretty hyped up project for quite some time now. Definitely one of like the big ones that people have their eyes on, like Invisible Friends, for example, right? Like one of these projects that are so big that you know about them like months in advance, and like everyone's looking ahead. And they had their Dutch auction starting at 1 ETH, which is a considerable amount to pay for an NFT, like a 1 ETH mint price. And they sold out in 3 minutes at the maximum mint of 1 ETH.
And what was the supply on it?
They had 7,000, I believe, for Dutch auction.
That's not a small amount of money.
Nope, that almost comes down to about $30 million, which is absolutely crazy. So my question to you, how much do you think the gas fees costed? Like if you were to mint one for 1 ETH, how much gas do you think you would have to pay?
It's either going to be really high or they wrote a really good contract and it's going to be really low. I'm going to say low, and I'm going to say it was like 0.05.
Okay. So you're right, it is very low. Because they had something implemented called ERC721A. So the normal protocol is ERC721, but they had something, I don't know if they made it themselves, I don't know if they contacted some solution and implemented it, but what happened is apparently you can just have very low gas fees. It's super good because you could mint five maximum mint per transaction, or per wallet, I think. And you could like pump it up to like 2,000 guai, like the gas units, and still pay like 0.01. Like that is unheard of. Like,
wow! Like, so it was far lower than what I even said. Okay.
It's so low that it's almost nothing. Even during network congestion, you could barely pay anything on the ERC721. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen more and more projects lately. I know the Toy Boogers, they had a pretty low gas fee on theirs because you can write these smart contracts. Lord knows I don't know how to write a smart contract, but you can write them in a way that allows for lower gas fees, which I think most projects these days should probably go ahead and take advantage of that.
Yeah, like the long story short is everything you do with a contract, like every function within a contract requires like gas, right? So if you have less functions, it requires you to pay less. But apparently there's a way for you to like optimize that fully and make it very efficient. Apparently, like how that works is magic to me. But
That's pretty cool. Moving on. Yesterday, there were a few big announcements coming out of the world of entertainment, and that was Time Studios announcing a partnership with Smilesverse and Toy Boogers. We have talked about both of these projects on here in the past. I own one each of the Smiles and the Toy Boogers. I actually forgot that I had one of my Smiles listed, and then it sold, which, I mean, it sold for an amount that covered the cost of that plus my other one plus a small amount of profit. So it's not like the end of the world. But they announced, Time Studios did, that they are going to be getting more involved in NFTs, NFT projects to create animated series for kids. So a quote from Time President Keith Grossman: "We see an opportunity to build an extensive library of IP coming from the incredible creativity we are witnessing within the NFT space. In essence, our goal is to become the de facto studio for the Web3 era," which I think is a very smart and forward-looking approach coming from Time Magazine, which, not going to lie, I don't know if I've ever read a Time Magazine. I associate that with the boomer crowd. So I think it's really cool to see that they've embraced Web3 and NFTs. And, you know, it makes sense that they would look for places for new intellectual property because there's just, you know, it seems like in Hollywood these days, everything is just reused and recycled.
Yeah, I hate it.
And you have a lot of really creative people and artistic people in the NFT space who are putting out awesome projects that have tremendous marketability. I mean, Toy Boogers is a collection of 3,333 of these PFPs. They're all hand drawn.
Yeah.
They have, you know, they're goofy, they're quirky, and I think that they have a lot of appeal to them, especially among kids. So I think that's going to be a really fun project to keep an eye on. Same with Smiles. Like those, they're both two really well executed projects that have strong teams behind them.
And no drama, right? I believe. No
drama at all. Like they've been from the jump, they have been very, you know, well run projects. And they are, you know, this is the second and third NFTs that Time has brought on. The first one was their partnership with Robotos. So there are going to be 3 different animated series that Time Studios is going to be working on. So I'm excited to see, you know, when they're going to come out, in what medium they're going to be delivered. If it's going to be on TV, online, on Netflix, whatever. So really cool to see that. And moving on, that's a perfect segue into recapping last weekend and the craziness around some of these cute NFT projects.
It was madness.
It was absolute insanity. So we'll touch on a few of them. First being, and I hate to even bring this up, Daniel, but the Alien Friends and the absolute rocket ship that they went on. I know we discussed last week that you had minted some of them, and you had sold them for slightly less than what they got up to last weekend.
Yeah, a little bit less. I bought. Well, I got my girlfriend to buy 10.
Oof. Nice.
And she wanted to have 4 of them, so I was like, all right, I'll take 6 then, you know. So I had 6. Oh no, she's here as well. Agnes, go away. Agnes,
shake my head, Dan.
Agnes, please mute your.
Agnes,
please
please
your
stay
volume.
and keep commenting.
Yeah, and she still has them as well. She still has them, so that's pain. So I kept 6, and then one of them was a rank 85 overall out of the 10,000.
Oh no.
Yeah, if I still had that, I don't even know what I could have sold it for. Maybe like 12 ETH, maybe like 15 ETH.
Remember what you did sell it for? I hate to bring that back up. 1 ETH? Okay.
So at the time, it was an absolute insane sale because rank 60, rank 40 were all up on the market for like 0.50. And then mine, rank 85, sold for like twice that amount. So like at the time, it was a crazy sale. And then it went up to 0.99. All right, it's basically 1 ETH. And then at the time, the floor went up to like 0.4, and then back to 0.2, and then back to 0.4, and then back to 0.2, and it was just like nothing was happening. And then Gary Vee decided to tweet about them like 8 times, and the floor shot up to 4
Yeah,
in
so
like
the
a week.
floor on Alien Friends peaked last Saturday at 4 ETH. And I was on Twitter and I got not the best response from people, but I was sending out tweets basically saying, like, this is peak euphoria. You know, there were people out there like, this is what it was like for Bored Apes when they went straight to 20. And I'm like, you guys are not going that. First off, that didn't happen because Alien Friends have been around for a few weeks and they went to 4. It took months for Bored Apes to get to that point. So let's not get crazy here. But I think we can use this as a lesson for everyone to, it's okay if you're in this to try to invest and make some money and flip NFTs, don't get too attached to them. Keep an eye on price action and don't be afraid to sell, even if it's not you're never going to sell the exact top.
Yeah.
Okay. Very rarely you're going to sell the exact top. I think I've sold the exact top one time in the last year, and I don't plan on doing that ever again. So Alien Friends got up to 4. As of this this broadcast, they're back down to about 2.3. Crypto Mories was another one that ripped. That went up to 2.25. It's back down to 1.43. Little Lemon Friends went up to 1. It's back to 0.48. Coolman's Universe went to 1.8, and now it's back to 0.98. So multiple of these are almost half of what they were on Saturday. So once again, if you feel an intense amount of FOMO because all anyone is talking about on Twitter is the price and the floor price on these, and you're following some of the sales bots and they're just going absolutely crazy, that is a sign to sell, not to buy more. Okay. That is a great opportunity to sell, especially if you minted or you bought at a cheap price point and you're able to 5 or 10x your investment, because they will come back down just like they are right now. This is a very, very elementary part of investing and trading is when everyone is at peak euphoria, get out a little bit and pocket some profits. And when everyone is panicking and things are stagnant, you know, if your investment thesis was this is a good project long term, don't be afraid to take some of those profits and buy back in and you know, net a little bit. And if you sold one of those Alien Friends, you know, if you sold a handful of them at 4 ETH, you could have pocketed some profit and then bought everything back in plus some at 2.3. So this is just another one of those lessons of, you know, FOMO and FUD are very real in the NFT space. And NFTs are interesting because it's like a constant psychological project. Like you're seeing human behavior play out in real time, and it's really fascinating.
Yeah, and I just want to add to the last point of like sell indicators. My personal sell indicator is if I screenshot the value of my NFT, that is probably time to sell. I have learned from it from Oniforce. At that point, like ever since I experienced Oniforce, I have become very like eager to take profits along the way, because I do not want to be in that position ever again, where it went from like 0.2 mint up to 7 point something on the second day. And for that time, like especially for that time, it is kind of like that was really really high, because I think apes were like at 20 maybe. Like maybe I might be a little bit too low on that guess, but maybe like 4 months ago at least. But yeah, like at that time at least I saw people wanting to trade their ape for like a rare oni, right? So like pretty often. So I was like, you know, there's no reason we cannot flip apes, you know? Like, dude, guys, we're gonna become apes. Like, we got the strong team, we got the art, you know? And that's what I see a lot. And like these days, I think it's just like the newer people that are like, you know what, we can do it, right? But I think people have to realize that you can't, like you always say, it's not like a straight line up. And like only showed went to 7 and then to like 0.6 I think was at the lowest. Now they have 1 again, so rough. I saw 1 at least, but
yeah. It's a lesson that most people are gonna have to learn on their own. But if you can maybe learn it a little bit quicker, you know, with our help, that'd be a good thing. So another project or projects we've seen a lot this week are different derivatives. So we've
Yeah.
seen about 100 different copies
Maybe
of
more.
maybe more doodles and cool cats and CryptoPunks and bored apes. There's one called Caked Apes, which is the bored apes, but if they were made out of cakes. That people are spending like 0.3 ETH plus on those.
It's not okay.
There's been cat doodles and dog doodles and every other toss every letter instead of the D out in front, and that's going to be a variation of it. We've seen cool dogs. We've seen doodles and cool cats mixed together, however that would work. Like, it's been absolutely crazy.
I think we've had uncool cats as well, I think.
We probably have had uncool cats. So I think there are pros and cons to this. One of the main pros I see is that, especially the bored ape derivatives, the 99.9% of the population cannot afford a bored ape, which is obviously understandable. And so having a derivative project that lets them feel connected to the bored ape community, because I'm not trying to be an elitist douchebag owning an ape. Like, I think it's awesome. I love that people want to be involved in bored apes even if they don't own it. I think it's great for the community. I think it's something fun and exciting to rally around. So I think from that standpoint, it's a positive. Same goes with doodles and cool cats and CryptoPunks, because those are so expensive that most people can't afford to get in. But if they can have a derivative, if they can have their flipped CryptoPunk or their upside down CryptoPunk or whatever the hell it is, some of those communities kind of suck, but some of them are really great. And I think that that's a big pro. The main con for me is that there's so many of them right now that people could get scammed very easily, because they might see that, oh, this is a bored ape project or this is a cool cat project, so we need to, jump in on that, when in actuality it's just another person who's going for a cash grab. So I think that is my only concern. I love seeing the involvement in this communities and people wanting to be a part of it. I think, everyone should have that experience with NFTs because it is so fun when you jump in. I just caution people, look into it, see who's running that derivative project. I kind of made fun of the Caked Apes ones, but the guy who runs the project, he's well respected in the community. He's fairly well known, and I think that's a great project if you're looking to have some sort of ape, but you can't spend 77 Ethereum. So that's my one piece of caution. Dan, what are your thoughts on some of these derivatives?
Yeah, for me, it's mostly down to like creativity. I think a lot of these derivative projects are so lazy. Like I said, like flipped punks. You can do that in like maybe 10 seconds if you're slow. like making it, Like that's what I don't really understand is that, well, I deeply respect derivatives. Like I think expansion punks did that fairly well. So they take what's already there, right? They take punks, but they spin it in a way where it actually requires the artist or the team behind it to like put in effort and make it like their own. And like what I also think, what I think is good though for let's say apes or doodles or cool cats, is having people create these derivatives keeps their project like more relevant as well, like the original project. If people keep making these ape projects, this, ape that, it reinforces like the idea, I guess, that the original is still like the number one, like the top of the food chain type stuff, So I think it does give more attention to the project, like indirectly. So I think that's still like a really good like pro.
I'm gonna pull up I've been talking about the Caked Apes, so I'm gonna.
I want to see. I want to see because
I do not own any of these. I might, but so they're pretty wild
cool
looking. The colors are really cool. One thing that's interesting is that they also take other NFT projects. So this one right here has a Robato's head. This one here is a cool cat.
What is that? Can we talk about that? What is that?
So this is like a ninja one that has a cool cat for a nose.
What is that? What the hell?
It's pretty wild. So some of these, the colors are definitely eye-catching. You can't deny that they
very psychedelic.
They pop, that's for sure. And
oh my god.
Yeah. So there's
I don't like these mouths that are like
other things. Thing. Yeah. So here's one with a Doge pound.
Wait, where is that?
Head.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it has like a helmet that is a Doge pound. That's interesting.
That's cute. Yeah, it's like biting his head.
So that is one of them. Let's pull up a few more derivatives. Let's pull up the cat doodle. I
The
believe they're called
Koodles.
Koodles. There we
They
go.
were pumped. They went up to like 0.8, I think.
Yeah, they're currently sitting at 0.2.
I will
It's
never buy into these.
like
I'll be honest.
neither will I. As a combination of a cool cat and a doodle, I think the colors look neat, but other than that, I think they're pretty lazy.
Yeah.
I'm not personally a fan. I I want to like the doodles, but the fact that the eye is not,
It's a style. It's a
it
style, yeah.
drives that kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah, I
So
I
that
don't
is
know the
not my thing.
origin, but I know that it is a specific branch of like cartoon style that has been around for like ages. And I'm not
Okay.
sure why. I don't like dislike it. But that's mainly because I know like that it's not something that's like new or like quirky, Um yeah. I was gonna say something but I kind of zoned out.
Oh well,
Oh yeah,
that's okay.
I remember. I got it. I blame the booster. I blame the booster. The booster shot. That is, I will never ever buy into a project that is popular NFT with popular NFT like the board cat doodles club. I'll
Yeah,
never ever buy into that stuff ever.
yeah. Some of it definitely seems kind of cash grabby. So we'll move on past that. And the last part of today's recap is going to be, I want to touch on historical NFTs. So in my historical NFTs, we mean projects that were minted between like 2017 and 2019. So it's not like we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about caveman portraits on walls or anything here.
They're drawing on the
Uh,
wall. They're selling it.
there has this week the main historical NFT pumping was crypto skulls, and
Yeah,
that was Gary V led some of the charge there. Uh,
as per usual.
it was a very shady endeavor because the team behind it was holding a ton of the crypto
Yeah,
skulls
I saw
and
that.
proceeded to sell them at like zero point 0.8
Yeah,
Ethereum.
yeah.
So, if it's one of those things where it never sold out, I guess, so they still had them, and all of a sudden they had their chance at relevancy and they took advantage of it, which, it's,
Fair
I
play.
can't really blame them. Like, it's on people buying from them. Like, if you see that, like, all of these sales are coming from the owners of the project, maybe there's a reason why they didn't sell out before. That's
Yeah,
that's kind of on you making that buying decision. So
yeah. And it's,
you've
it's funny
seen
that
this
you say
before.
that,
Yeah.
because I was looking at their project when it was like mid like hype, and I went into like the owner's account, and I'm like, huh? They got like a bunch for sale. So I check
Yeah.
the history, and it's just like sale, 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 sale. And I'm like, huh? So I checked the Ether scan. They had like 300 ETH or something like in their wallet, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, a few days ago when it first started pumping, if you looked at the selling activity, the seller for every single one of them was the project
that's
itself.
crazy.
So that's fairly shady. But once again, you got to do your own homework and see what's going on with the project. So, I think some of these historical NFTs, these are pump and dumps, and once again, influencers who've maybe found something early, tried to put it out there for everyone, and then are using their communities as exit liquidity. If you don't know what that means, exit liquidity is essentially, your way of getting out of a project and turning a quick profit. And a lot of Twitter accounts who have, 100,000 plus people, or even less, in the tens of thousands, have no problem using their followings for exit liquidity. So if
Yeah,
you see someone constantly, pumping a project, and then when they're doing it, they're selling, that was something that Beanie Maxi did. That's something that Cole Ethereum, who's a bit of a
no.
scumbag, he did. So keep an eye out for these people who have these huge followings and are pumping a project. Go take a look at their account if they have their account public and see if they actually have those projects that they're holding or if they're listing them. It was funny if a few months ago, Beanie made a claim that Cool Cats and Cryptodes were going to flip Bored Apes. And that same day, people were looked and saw that, hey, Beanie's got a bunch of Cool Cats and
Oh
Cryptodes
no.
listed for sale. I wonder why he made that outlandish claim. So just another cautionary tale with some of these accounts that you might follow, to don't immediately jump into something just because they tell you to.
Yeah, I
So
think I think Beanie sometimes is a little bit too like enthusiastic. I think because I rely on him like a fair amount when it comes to like wolf game information, and sometimes when it comes to like the spaces, I think he like injected caffeine like straight into his veins. so so I think like maybe in one of his like caffeine fueled like takes, maybe it is like just like exit strat, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
who
think
knows
I
at
think
this
some of it
point.
is.
I
So
think so.
let's move on to the next part of today's show, which is we're going to talk about some of the marketplace madness that has been going on. We discussed briefly at the beginning the Looks token through looksrare.org, the new NFT marketplace that launched on Monday. And there's been a lot of talk, amongst the NFT community around the need for more marketplaces. There's been a lot of frustration with OpenSea. They have constant website outages.
Yeah,
Their customer support and interactions on, Twitter and through email is incredibly poor. They're very slow to verify
super
collections.
slow. Yeah,
Very slow. I mean, Alien Friend still isn't verified. Crypto Mori still isn't verified, and they have
it should not be allowed. It's so
and they have
crazy.
thousands of Ethereum being transacted. And for those who wonder why that's important, there are plenty of bad actors who put out fake collections on OpenSea with maybe like the letter is a little bit different, or there's like a space or a period or a dash somewhere, and people can be tricked into buying a NFT that isn't part of the official project. So having that check mark on there definitely saves people from being scammed, which is a big part of why it's important. And another thing that really rubbed people the wrong way was last week a story came out, I believe through Forbes, that OpenSea raised another 300 million in a round of funding. Their current valuation is 13.3 billion dollars with a B, and the founders of OpenSea are now worth $2 billion apiece, which that's great for them, but at the same time, you know, with all the issues and the constant, I mean, every day the site is either slow or down for a while. It's
Yeah,
become a running joke. And when you put out, have, your company stories like that of the billions and billions of dollars you're worth, but you have these, problems that they're not astronomical to fix. I mean, getting more and better servers is not something that, should be taking months at a time.
yeah,
And they sure as hell have the money for it. So there has been, a lot of frustration in the community around this. And I'm going to pull up a tweet from a gentleman who is an investor in OpenSea, and what I think is a very tone deaf investor in OpenSea.
uh-oh,
Who I don't know if you saw this the other day, Daniel,
I don't think
but
so.
this it was not particularly well received what he said. So let's just pull this up real quick, and this is part of the problem with with some of these people jumping into NFTs who don't really understand the community. I see a ton of people shitting on OpenSea. I'm an investor, so biased, but regardless, the hate is absurd. These are the guys that were busy building and grinding since 2017. That's fair enough. Back when 99% of people in crypto laughed at NFTs, and because they won't launch a token, everyone's mad. So here's the thing. The
Yeah,
token was just the icing on the cake.
yeah, I agree.
The token was not, people have been mad for months about everything, far, far before the token was even discussed through
Yeah,
LooksRare. I mean, it has been going on for a long time, and it just shows that this guy has not been paying attention to what
yeah,
is going on. He's talking out of his ass that he thinks that this is just about a token. I mean, LooksRare dropping a token based off of how much you spent on OpenSea is pretty hilarious, and it just goes to show that I think that that marketplace, while it may have struggled competing with Coinbase, they're trying to do something different.
yeah,
And we still have not really heard anything from OpenSea. I don't think they're going to drop, because they've been receiving funding from VCs. I don't think they're going to drop a token.
yeah,
Um, it just seems very, very unlikely. I think that they believe that they already have their market share and that they don't need to do anything else right now.
yeah,
Uh, so I think that their apathy and their lack of desire to try to fix things speaks volumes. And I took down some listings from OpenSea, and I actually listed a few things on LooksRare and
mm-hmm.
X.xyz, because I'm kind of at the point where I'm frustrated with OpenSea. I don't want them to be continuing to take 2.5% of the sale of my NFTs when they're doing very little to improve, the experience on their site.
Yeah, one thing that they did do actually after the recent maintenance is they added a watch list finally. So
Okay.
you can, I don't know if you noticed or if you knew.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that.
yeah, so for everyone that doesn't, can go to a collection, and I think on the right there's like a follow or like add to watch list button. So that's really cool because before what I had to do is click on the statistics page, go filter on like 7-day volume, scroll past all the projects that I missed out on, feel really bad, and then I can finally see my shitty project at like rank 90 to like check their floor price. But now you can filter all of them into like this one watch list. Um, so that's nice. That saves you a lot of effort. So
Yeah,
and a lot
absolutely.
of less emotional damage. So that's always nice to
Emotional,
have.
less
Yeah,
trauma, which we
yeah,
all we all need right now.
yeah. And
So
just real quick, one last thing. One last thing. That is about the tweet you showed. I agree with them saying that OpenSea really like fought the battle in like 2017, 2018, even 2019, maybe even 2020.
yeah,
Um, and I don't think we would have been here without them. But I
no,
think,
agreed,
yeah,
agreed.
like that's the only thing I can really like say to that. But I think OpenSea is the MySpace of like social media, where they're extremely like detrimental to the space, but a Facebook comes in and you're gone. I think and I think the Facebook in this scenario is going to be Coinbase, and I think OpenSea is way too relaxed about all this. Like, is it just me? Like, I think
No,
they're
it's
going
not
to
just
be
you.
destroyed.
It's the common, you know, Blockbuster and Netflix has been the
Yeah,
common
exactly. Yeah,
comparison going around. Is like OpenSea is like Blockbuster. They've gotten complacent, and
yeah.
they just laugh at other competitors, and then those competitors put them out of business. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But have you played around at all on LooksRare? Have you taken much of a look at the site?
I looked at it, and like I like what they're doing, and you can definitely see that they have like their like NFT users making a platform.
Hmm.
And but I believe there is still some like stuff that needs ironing out. Like for
For
example,
sure.
I believe that you can't post like a an asset for like an X amount of time, I think, or you can't. Well, no, I think you can do that, but I think you can't have
No,
like an
every
offer on
so
it or something.
everything. If you try to list something, you can't change it from being on there for a month.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So that's not good. On the collection pages, you can't like change it's you can't change the like ascending price on there. So some of the filtering
Okay.
issues. So there's still limited functionality for sure. Uh, I don't know if they necessarily rushed it out, but I think that this was a project where they wanted to get it out as quickly as possible, and they were willing to sacrifice a few pieces of functionality to try to get out in front of Coinbase.
Yeah.
So they had their looks token, like we said, it dropped on Monday. They're providing staking and trading rewards. So with the
Yeah.
staking, you stake through their site. The APY on it right now, or APR on it right now, is like 1,000%, which will not be. It's fluctuated. It was as high as like 2,500% on Monday. It was down in the 800s on Tuesday, Wednesday, and as more and less people stake it, the percentages change. So right now it's around 1,000,
And is that good
and
or is that not good?
that's good. I mean, 1,000%. Like if the site continues to grow and they improve and gain traction, you're building up a lot of tokens. And current token price for the Looks token is about
Like
three
3 point
dollars and
something.
43 cents.
Yeah.
Down from its high of 480, but it's not like it's crashed by any means.
Yeah.
And with that token, you also receive uh, a cut of their marketplace fee. So as opposed to OpenSea, who does a 2.5% fee on all sales, LooksRare does a 2%, and all of that money is divided between the people who are staking their Looks token on the site, and you're paid out every day in wrapped Ethereum. So if you are staking for a while, like you can make a pretty nice little chunk of change right there. To drive interaction on the site, they're doing trading rewards. So they'll track all of the sales in a 24-hour period, and then they'll give out looks tokens to the people who are active on the site based on their activity, which has led to some wash trading, which is not something that I don't think most people know what wash, like the terminology. I think a lot of people are using it wrong. They're just
Because it's a
trading
pretty
back
old
and
term,
forth
right?
to draw attention. Yeah, yeah. So wash trading is really just like selling. The traditional financial term is basically referring to selling through one exchange and buying on a different exchange to manipulate prices.
Oh, okay.
This people are doing, I think, to gain more rewards. Which, if you're losing that 2% fee, is it really worth it? I don't
I must be
know.
right.
I mean, we're assuming that people are rational and doing the smart thing, which I think is a bold assumption to make, Daniel. But
True.
that has definitely been one thing that drew some attention, and there have been quite a few, legitimate sales though. So we've seen a good number of Bored Apes being sold on LooksRare, and I think as the functionality continues to improve, the team behind it is pretty strong, and I think that they're going to continue to be very active. One thing I have appreciated is that they've been very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just talking with the community, listening to their concerns, providing feedback and reassurances, and now it's just a matter of, are they going to act on that feedback?
Yeah.
So interested to see what happens with LooksRare. Another NFT marketplace is x.xyz. So I messed around on there a little bit as well. That is another community owned, and they refer to it as a cross-chain marketplace. So they'll have NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. I believe they'll have them through Solana as well, eventually, and then other blockchains. They have a governance over the marketplace that is provided through their X token and their X DAO. So the X token can be purchased on SushiSwap. You can stake it, and then you receive voting rights, to vote on propositions through the x.xyz platform. So if no one's been involved in a DAO before, your voting is proportionate to the number of tokens that you have. So there's a lot to be said for that. I think the team also behind that one is really strong. One of the big names on there is Machi Big Brother, who has a very large Bored Ape holder. I mean, that guy, his Bored Ape collection,
controversial as well. He's a very interesting character.
Yeah. So there's some well-respected people on there, and just like with everything, there's a little bit of controversy too. LooksRare has Cole Ethereum, who I mentioned earlier.
That's the major controversy.
He was an early angel investor, and actually LooksRare, the day it launched, came out and said he is not involved in the day-to-day operations of this in any way. I think they realized the negative sentiment around him. So they wanted to get out in front of that. So x.xyz, I think, is another good platform to take a look at. And then briefly, we'll just touch on GameStop announcing their NFT marketplace. So they will have a marketplace built on Ethereum. They had a cool visual for it of a Game Boy with an Ethereum cartridge being placed in a Game Boy. I thought that was very nostalgic. As an old guy who I had the original Game Boy that looked like essentially like a brick that your hands got rubbed raw playing too much. But I'll be interested to see what GameStop does with their NFT marketplace. Any thoughts on that?
I wonder. The only thing that I do know is that it's you have to request to be a creator. So it's gonna be more curated stuff. It seems Nifty Gateway, I believe. So I'm just on their website. I'll just screen share real quick so everyone can see themselves. Well, not themselves, but see for yourselves. So does this work? Wait, this is buggy. Wait. Okay, this works, right?
Yep,
so,
I see it.
Yeah, if you scroll, it kind of goes inside it, and that's cool. So yeah, I really wonder what they're I wonder what they're trying to do. It has to be. There's no way that they're trying to become the major exchange, right? Or the major marketplace. So there has to be maybe something more niche, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably correct. I think they're trying to capitalize. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking, but
a little bit, yeah. You can hear your dog a little bit.
Yeah, it's great. So I think they're trying to capitalize on just everything that happened with Reddit and the meme stock that they've become, and trying to build on that. But I also do know that they brought in a new CEO who's quite forward thinking and wants to try to take them in a different direction besides just the physical locations, because we've seen
Finally,
with a lot of businesses that these days that is not a great business model to have. So there's I'll be interested to see how this all plays out, when it
me
plays
too.
out. And we're still waiting on Coinbase. I'm
Soon?
viewing the Coinbase marketplace. I mean, they said Q4 of last year back in
Ethereum
October,
2.0?
and that, yeah, right. And that didn't happen. So, and they keep announcing like their partnerships,
Yeah.
who they're partnering with, and everyone in the comments is like, "Cool,
When?
when you guys gonna launch?" Like, stop telling us what's gonna be on there and tell us when it's actually gonna happen. So I think that, as well as ETH 2.0 and Twitter verification of PFPs, are like the
It's coming, actually.
There's like a carrot that's being dangled in front of everyone as far as like what's on the way, and we'll see what happens there. So
I think
let's move.
the Twitter thing is coming actually very soon though.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots of people.
Yeah.
Have you seen those too?
Yeah, I've also seen one where it's like on the actual screen of like implementing it, like like, hey, Twitter is trying to access your wallet or something, right? Or like, well, not access, but like
wants you to
linking your
verify
wallet.
that you're the owner of this wallet. So yeah, we'll be interested to see. I've gotten a lot of new followers on Twitter who use like ape and mutant PFPs, and I'm just like, I don't believe that all of you have the, like, I think it's it's people who just have like a couple followers. I'm just like, I think you're just using this to try to gain more followers on here. I don't believe so. I'm just kind of I'm waiting to follow these people back until I see that that's actually verified, because I think that too many people are using pictures that aren't their own just to try to gain some clout. So not feeling that. Let's move into our look ahead, Daniel. You touched on Oni earlier. Sounds like there's some more Oni stuff going on. Give people a little breakdown there.
Yeah, some more the usual drama around Oni. The community sentiment is very bad because, like I said earlier, floor went to 7, floor went to 0.07. People upset. So the major point is of the community, because I was in there last night or maybe 2 days ago, just chatting, maybe like taking up some of the sentiment, taking up some of the points, and it mainly boiled down to the holders have had no value for the last 5 months, or like ever since they minted, nothing was really like given to the holders, or like no value being presented for holding, other than what they said, some niche like hobbies of the creators. So like mainly revolving around like role playing or like interactive like chat experiences and such. Like it's not really something that the major audience really cares about too much. So that means there's no real value for the holders in general. So sentiment was like really bad for that. And then they announced that the upcoming drop for the nano suits, it was coming, I believe, end of month is what they said. It was going to be a 15,000 supply. And that has people worried because there's barely any demand for the main collection anyway. So what do you think about that? Like having like a... So keep in mind, this is 7,000 reserved for public, rest free mint for holders. What do you think about that?
Oof. So what are the suits going to be used for?
I think it's just another... so in utility aspect, I don't think they haven't said anything yet. So that's always been kind of like the main concern about Oni. The utility just isn't there yet. So it's going to be a separate collection for the suits.
Okay. And how many? So you said 15,000 nano suits for holders, 7,000 for the public?
No, it's like 7,000 like roughly for holders.
Okay.
Like free mint, and then 7,000 roughly for public.
Okay. I mean, I think for a free mint, it's fine. I think at this point, if community sentiment is as bad as you're saying because they haven't done much of anything else, they should probably give a little more info on why these are going to be valuable. I know that you want to, under promising and over delivering is really important, but if you've under promised to the point of not promising anything, then you should maybe give a little peek of what they're going to be used for. So if I had an Oni, I would take the free one, but I probably wouldn't be paying for one in the public sale.
Yeah, so the community is basically saying it's a cash grab because they haven't really said anything as to why they're going for 15,000. And I was in the chat kind of being like the devil's advocate a bit, and I brought up the point of maybe the fact that there's like a public mint is gonna bring back some of like all the eyes on the project and somehow like reignite the excitement around the project. So I suggested they have this like suggestion channel where you can suggest something, obviously, and I said like I would really like if the team could maybe like come forward and explain why do they think 15,000 assets is going to be good for the project. So it's gonna have to wait. I believe they have a space today, or the thing maybe they had it like yesterday or something, where they maybe talked about it. But yeah, so that's definitely something I'm gonna be keeping my eyes open for, because you know I'm attached to the project. I don't see myself selling my Oni anytime soon. If it goes down, I'll go down with the ship. But like I'm definitely interested, and I really wonder like what is the market going to do with Oni and the suits, especially like looking at Bored Ape and Muted Ape, how that impacted their price. And I think this is like the suits is structured in a way where if it's negative, like the result's negative, then I think the price is going to be like really, really low.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that plays out. What else do you have for us as far as things that are coming up this week?
Yeah, so I have Rengoku is coming tomorrow, pre-minting. I'll open up a little linky. So I am whitelisted to this project, of course, of course, as I am.
Captain Whitelist.
Yeah, Captain Whitelist, as they say. Let me open this up. Let's see. To make sure this actually works. Can you see everything?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So they are this samurai NFT collection, and music is like pretty like embedded in their project. So let's see. I'll spare the details. So they have a really cool like site. I think this is mainly their story. So this is what they're gonna look like, and what are they saying here? Rengoku is a story experience that truly comes alive, a multi-dimensional journey revolving around a samurai warrior legend and the mystical world of occultism. 8 immersive chapters of live paintings, interactive visual exploration, VR, and 360 experience with spatial audio, and most excitingly, the ability to participate and influence the outcome of the story and the art to be created via NFT, blockchain technologies, and more. I'm looking forward to this. Oh, this audio, I wonder if it's too loud. So maybe we can just have a little look at this. I've never seen this before, so maybe it's like a promotional type.
I mean, they definitely did not skimp on the website, and the art looks pretty cool. So you said you're on the whitelist, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's opening up tomorrow, yeah. So I'll go to the Twitter just to...
What's the pre-sale price on that?
0.087, so it's
okay.
Like nowadays, I guess it's on the lower side of things. Like we're seeing Azuki sitting out at 1.
Well, you see stuff like that, some of these other ones that are that high quality starting at like 0.2 and higher. So I don't think that's a bad starting price.
Yeah, and they announced a collaboration with Robbie Trevino, which is, like you said, like you see here, senior concept designer at Lucasfilm, SuperRare, Netflix, Wizards of the Coast, Valve, Xbox. So it's definitely like a really talented artist. It seems like. So, the project is doing all right. The numbers are decent. They have 24,000 on Discord and 25,000 on Twitter. So something you can say about that is those numbers are very close to each other, and that's something that I really like whenever I see like a project, because that to me feels like those numbers are like genuine, right? If a project has like 1 million followers on Instagram and like 10,000 on like Twitter, there's it's not balanced at all. So it feels like kind of suspicious to me. So.
Well, yeah, they probably bought Instagram followers at that point, because that's not hard to do.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. I have one project look ahead for me, and that is going to be, we talked about the different derivatives. Well, this is one called the Alien Dougal. So this is kind of a joke one. I'm a holder of Alien Boy NFT. Yeah. I have been for months now. And this kind of started off as a joke. The head of the project goes by Georgie Boy on Twitter. He loves talking shit, which is one of the things that I truly love about this guy. And he was joking that the Alien Boy, they do so much great stuff, and they have a really great roadmap, and they've delivered on a lot of things, but the price just doesn't budge because they're not cute enough. And in all the commotion last week around the cute NFTs, he was like, I'm sure you MFers would buy out a project if it was a mix between us and Doodles.
That's
and
funny.
So like someone on the team just threw it together real quick, and they typed it out wrong and called it the Alien Dougal. And he was like,
no.
Screw it, we're just going Alien Dougal. I don't care.
I love that.
And so let me pull it up real quick. So today at 2:00 my time, I believe, is going to be the Alien Dougal launch for holders of Alien Boys. So this is what one of the Dougals looks like. They also did a companion airdrop a few months ago where you could mint alien girls or UFOs. So it was just random. For every alien boy you had, you would put out a mint. You would get minted either an alien girl or a UFO. I have a handful of each of them. And so they're incorporating the UFOs. Now today, the way they're going to have it set up is at 4:00 Eastern time, you can claim 1 alien Dougal if you have 1 alien boy, 2 if you have 2, 5 if you have 25, and then owning a UFO also gets you a bonus one as well. So I think it's funny that this was just started up as a total joke. They're going to have 5,000 available for Alien Boy holders that are just going to be the cost of gas, and then they're doing a 5K public sale for 0.051 ETH a few hours after that. So I'm not saying to go ahead and buy one of these. I don't know if there's going to be any utility with them. I'm buying it, or I'm getting it purely because I already had the Alien Boy, and I think it's just a funny story, and I enjoy the Alien Boy team and community. I think that they don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And I love a project like that. So that
does well generally as well. Like recently,
they did what?
I think projects that don't take themselves too seriously are doing pretty well. Like recently, more like not too serious. It's very playful.
Well, they take building their project seriously, but they're not the type of project that is going to be constantly pumping like, hey, we're at this floor price and trying to drive it. Like they're just trying to deliver value for the people who have held for a while, and I obviously as a holder I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So let's round it out with Squiggles then, because that is the last one that we have on our list to talk about.
And a little bit of a controversial one, because earlier we touched on derivatives, and Squiggles is a derivative? I guess you can call it a derivative?
Yeah, it's a derivative because it's a 3D. It's Doodles, but in 3D with like...
Yeah. So...
Well, and there's also Chromie Squiggles through art blocks. So they're kind of stealing a name too. So they're stealing the art of one project and the name of another project. So that seems pretty legit to me, Daniel.
Yeah, so this is a controversial one. It is extremely hyped. I think what did I see, like 57,000 followers on Twitter, 250,000 members on the Discord, which I assume there's definitely going to be some, like a lot of bots in there, but they are apparently also actively banning them. But this is a hard one, right? Because a lot of people want to buy it, means price is going to do well. But this, like, I believe the Doodles, I believe the Doodles people didn't really like it too much, because I'm unsure if the Squiggles are entirely new art, or if it's literally the same art but 3D. Like this is going to, like, if we ever gonna see like a high, like a, what do you call it, like a DMCA thing of like a very, very notorious project, like a very known project, I think this might actually be it. So it's going to be tough. Like I have a whitelist, as I do, but like I am unsure if I would want to risk holding this long term. I'm concerned that they mint and then they get DMCA'd. So yeah.
For everyone, what's DMCA mean?
It's like I'm unsure of the actual meaning. All I really know is that they get like copyright strike. Like they basically say, hey, you're using our like product, our IP, like unlawfully. I assume. Maybe you have some more information on that. And
then I know some projects have been delisted from OpenSea because of that. So that's a risk you're taking there if you want to have a 3D. are these going to be like 3D, like that you can use in the metaverse, or is they just going to be 3D purely to have on OpenSea and in your
I'm
MetaMask wallet?
unsure. I reckon if they are saying 3D into the metaverse, I think that'll definitely get them into like tough water, right? Because you can't go into the metaverse and be 2D, right? It's a 3D space.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see, right? But I do like the art. Like the art looks like I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. Like I am looking forward to it, but I'm also looking forward to like the drama that's going to happen all around it. So
Well, I know that you love some good drama. I
I
know
do
that
love drama.
I know that the bosses here at Flolio love some good drama as well.
True.
Speaking of that, do we have any Flolio updates we want to share with the people before we head out of here?
I don't think we have anything we want to share right now. I know we're closing in on our phase two.
We will.
So
So one thing I will share that was discussed is we will have a new landing page open next week. That's going to have a little bit of a preview of what's to come for Flolio. So we'll tweet out a link to that next week. Keep your eyes peeled. You and I have gotten to play behind the scenes a little bit on what the site is going to look like, and I'm excited. I think that the stuff that you and I have both been pushing from early on as far as functionality for what we would use on the site is coming to fruition, which is really cool. It's going to make NFT buying and selling and managing of a portfolio a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Which I think is much needed right now in the NFT space. So I'm pretty pumped to see what this next version of the Flolio site is going to look like.
Yeah,
so keep an eye out for the link to that we'll be sending out next week. For Daniel, for the team at Flolio, once again, please like, subscribe, share, provide feedback, ask questions. We love interacting with all of you on this show. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. This was Web3 and Me. We will see you next Friday. Take it easy, everybody.